Hey all, wanted to reach out. Hearing a lot of buzz around the 2029 NEC reorganization. Had some conversations about it, seen some different comments and whatnot online, and thought it might be a good idea to just put a video together to give a little background about what's going on, to clarify a few things and maybe calm some nerves about it. So I wanted to go into this a little bit. So we've put a page together at NFPA. It's nfpa.org/2029 NEC reorg. So again, nfpa.org/2029 NEC reorg. And I will put that in the information here within the video so you have that as well. But I'm going to go to that page to start, and I wanted to talk through this a little bit because it gives some good information, background around maybe why it needs to change or the thoughts behind why it needs to change. And I thought it was good for the industry to hear this, to go through that. So essentially what we have been working with for most of our careers, at least mine, in the NEC, has been a structure that was initially developed in 1937. So when we look at the 2029 NEC come to fruition, at that point it's going to be 92 years that this same structure is being used. Well, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in that time frame. And you just look at the cars that were being driven back then, right? We had Model Ts and things of that nature. Now we have self-driving cars that can put, energy back onto the premises wiring system from them being a source. So there's a lot of stuff that's changed in our world, yet the NEC structure has remained the same. So a few years back, the NEC Correlating Committee, which oversees all of the other committees that work on the NEC, there's 18 other committees, decided to put together a task group to kind of look into the NEC structure, see if it was working for the current times, if it needed to make some changes around that. And essentially they came up with a structure that is being shared now, and we'll get into that in a moment, around where they think the future of the NEC needs to go for reorganization. And as this page notes here in the first paragraph, the structure of the NEC, first introduced in 1937, as I mentioned, plays a critical role for personnel in learning, understanding, applying, and enforcing the requirements. So there's a lot of different scenarios here that go on, whether you're an apprentice learning the NEC, whether you're an inspector enforcing it, whether you're an electrician that's installing it. There's a lot of people that are impacted by this. Engineers that design it, of course. So while the current structures had tremendous success and stability, it continues to be used globally by engineers, contractors, electricians, and training programs, as we mentioned. It's becoming increasingly cumbersome for electrical professionals, and it negatively affects their ability to efficiently learn, quickly apply, and inspect new and uniquely configured electrical systems. There's a lot of new things going on when we think energy management systems, of course, electrical vehicle charging systems, or power transfer systems is probably a better word, because they're not only consuming power by being charged, again, as I mentioned before, they're able to put power back onto the electrical system. So that there's a lot of unique things that have changed between 1937 and present day. So with that, we're trying to bring it up to speed where it makes the most sense for everyone. So this page, if you visit it, there's a lot of good information on here. I'm not going to take too deep of a dive into it. But there's information here. It's a downloadable about the proposed structure, which there's another means to look at that, which I'll get to here in a minute. Gives you a little background, some of the stuff I just talked about. At a glance, gives you some talking points over where things were, kind of what's transpired over time a little bit, and then the impact that is seen around this. The chart at the bottom gives an overview of what was done in the 2026 NEC. So between the 2023 and the 2026 NEC, which just came out, was issued a couple months ago by our Standards Council, it shows the changes that were made there to kind of, again, move towards this structure that we're trying to get to. So it gives you a pretty good overview here on this chart. And what I'm about to show you goes a little bit further into that. So let's go ahead and go to the next area. So I'm going to jump into NFPA link. This is the 2026 NEC. So it's in here. It's available. But if we drop down to the informative annexes, we have Informative Annex L. So this is the proposed structure for the 2029 NEC. And if we expand this chart out a little bit, and what we can see is we have the introduction of the topics, the different chapters that we're breaking these into. So currently the structure of the NEC, as of the 2026 NEC, has 9 chapters. And that's what we've worked with pretty much all our careers. Now we've got the expansion of chapters as it gets reorganized. So Jeff Sargent is our staff liaison for the NEC, and I like this phrase that he's used. We still need all the same tools to do our job. So the tools that we need, that we've used all these years, aren't going away, but what we're changing is how we organize those tools in the toolbox. So hopefully it makes it more efficient to find them, use them, enforce them, and things of that nature. So I think that's a great analogy from Jeff to kind of say, change is tough sometimes for people, but let's pump the brakes a little bit and look at what we're really trying to do, and know that we're still going to be able to do our jobs, whatever that is, whether it's design, install, inspect, with the 2029 NEC in whatever capacity it looks like. And maybe it might even be a little bit easier for you as you get into it. So just highlighting initially, like if we look at Chapter 2, and I'm going to pin this header so you can see where everything stays, but the 2023 article is column 1 there, what article it is. 2026 is the next one, and then 2029, I think they might be cut off a little bit by my video, but I apologize for that. I can't slide this table around. But just looking across the board, if we go to Chapter 2, some of those major articles we use, if we look at branch circuits, here moving across, it was 210 in the 2023, it's still 210 in the 2026, and it's proposed to be 210 in the 2029. If we go down into feeders, we've got the same thing. Outside branch circuits, services, overcurrent protection, over voltage protection, and grounding and bonding. Those are all major things we use every day in our roles. And as you can see, nothing's changed. It's still going to be the same thing. It's going to be lumped into Chapter 2 where it has been. And that's going to go forward. So this isn't, a lot of things I've heard is that this is going to be some major change and total restructure, and it's going to throw everybody's world upside down. Myself, as a master electrician of more than 30 years, I still use this every day, probably more so than I did when I was out in the field doing things or sitting behind the desk as an electrical contractor, bidding jobs and doing things of that nature. This is an everyday thing for me using this NEC, and I'm actually excited about the changes versus being concerned about them. Are there going to be little things that I need to do a little differently or find a little differently? Yes, but we also have new means to do that, like NFPA link. The search feature is amazing. It's not just going in the book back to the index like we used to have, or that we still do have, but some of us still use, some of us don't. I at this point I have a link on my computer, on my phone, and I use that in that form. I can still go back to a book if I need to, but man, I like this new technology and the things we're doing with it. So, I want to scroll through this a little bit more so you can see what else we've got. Chapter 3, there's some stuff from Chapter 2 that are there now that's moved over. A few changes there, but we go down and we start looking at the way it's really broken down. A lot of it's what we have had, but then we get to new things like Chapter 5, power production and energy storage systems. So some of those things that aren't necessarily lumped the way they should be right now, or could be right now in the NEC, start to get brought together. So when you look at interconnected systems, generators, standby batteries, PV, fuel cell systems, wind energy, a lot of this stuff that's energy related is all put into this chapter where everything is grouped together, which makes a lot of sense. And going down through these, you get into Chapter 6, 7. And a lot of this stuff's what we've always done. Circular raceways, conduit and tubing are grouped together. Then you've got non-circular raceways when you start talking about surface metal raceways and things of that nature. Power systems are lumped together. Temporary wiring, like we've had before, but now it's got its own chapter because it's got several articles that are grouped together there. Chapter 12 has devices and distribution equipment, so those things that we're applying power to that are then giving power to other things are all grouped there in that Chapter 12. Lighting equipment, motors, electric heating. So you can see we're into 16 chapters now. So we're well beyond the 9, but it's just reorganizing what we've had. There's nothing really crazy about what we've, always had. It's just moved to a new spot. So some of the stuff will stay the same as far as, the tables and stuff we knew, but we did live through a change. I remember it drove me nuts in the 2017 NEC when table 31016, which we'd referenced for years for ampacities of the conductors, changed to 31015B2A for that one cycle. And I was teaching apprenticeship at that time, and it drove me nuts because when I told the students that they needed to pull up table 31016 typically. Now I had to say, hey, please pull up table 31015 B2A. It was a mouthful, and it wasn't comfortable for me, but I got used to it. And then fortunately back in the 2020, it changed again back to 31016, and it has been ever since. So, change can be a little difficult at times, but we can get through it. And I think this is going to be the case with this 2029 NEC. So this goes all the way down. I know I'm getting up against time here a little bit, but we've got 22 chapters that are listed here. So this is what's proposed, and because it's part of the 2026 NEC, it's essentially being shared with the public so they can go through the standards development process and give input on this. So this isn't exactly as it's going to be yet. We're still going to have public inputs and public comments come in from you that are out there in the industry, and give us your input. What do you think? Maybe there's something that you have that might improve the way it's originally proposed or proposed right now. Maybe there's some things that you don't like about it that you think is going to make it difficult for your world. So I encourage you to reach out, and I'm going to switch to another page here to show you the standards development process. So I had, as an electrician, I never put in a public input, or as a contractor, any of my roles I've had in the industry through the years, I was never involved in this. And that's one regret that I have when I came to NFPA and I learned more about this, that I really didn't realize in every capacity I had in the electrical industry, I had a say in this. I could have put in inputs. I could have commented on inputs that have been put in after the first draft. Those are all things that, it would be great to take advantage of if you knew about it. So hopefully this is informing some of you that you have the ability to do that. And go in and give public input. So because that Annex L is in the 2026 NEC, it can be there can be inputs and comments made on that going through the stages here of the standards development process, where you can essentially say what you need to say or want to say about that, and have the committees review that and look at it and decide whether, this makes sense, or maybe we need to do something a little different here, and give that input. So I encourage you to do that. Go into the standards development process. Now, if you go to nfpa.org/70, so 70 next. Again, that's nfpa.org/70 next. And I'll again put that in the summary of information here for the video. You can go and you can make comments. Right now, public input, so the public input stage you see here at step 1 is open. And it's open through April 9th, 2026. So you have from now until then to give your input on what you think that Annex L looks like, what you'd like to see in the 2029 NEC, what you wouldn't like to see, what you think would help you or help the industry as a whole. Those are all things that you can do. So I want to make sure you're aware of that. So really, we've got a view of what the 2029 NEC is going to look like through Annex L in the 2026 NEC. So we can look at it. We've got that page that we've offered to you, nfpa.org/2029 NEC reorg, that will give you that information, kind of the why behind it. Everybody likes to know why change. So that gives a lot of good information there. There's actually a downloadable thing from the correlating committee, kind of their explanation of it that goes deeper into it if you want to go that far. And now I'm giving you this avenue where you can comment on it. You can shape the process, and I encourage you to get involved and do what you can do there to do your part for the industry. So with that, appreciate your time. Thank you for listening, and wanted to remind you, stay current and stay safe. Thank you.